was staying alone in a house I'd been to plenty of times before. It belonged to a family friend. Old, but well kept. The kind of place that creaks in all the right ways. Comfortable, familiar. That night, I went to bed early. No TV, no phone. Just darkness and the house settling around me. I remember thinking how peaceful and quiet it was. I didn't know what time it was when I woke up. There was no sound, no dream, no reason. I was just suddenly awake, like someone had flipped a switch in my brain. And immediately, I felt it. The pressure. That awareness you get when somebody is standing too close to you, staring at you. The air felt heavy, colder. I didn't move, didn't open my eyes at first. I tried to convince myself it was nothing, sleep paralysis, just anxiety. Then I opened my eyes. At the foot of the bed, there was a man, not glowing, not see-through, just a dark, solid shape cut out of the shadows, tall, broad shoulders, head slightly forward like he was looking straight down at me. He didn't move. He didn't speak. I couldn't hear him breathing. He was just there. For a second, my brain tried to save me. Maybe it's somebody I know. Maybe I'm still dreaming. Maybe it's my husband messing with me. I said my husband's name out loud. Nothing. The figure didn't react at all. No shift, no flinch, just the same heavy stare, like I was the one who wasn't supposed to be there. My heart started pounding so hard it sounded like knocking inside my skull. My mouth went completely dry. The lamp was on the table beside me. I knew exactly where the switch was. I forced my arm to move inch by inch under the cover, like any sudden motion might set him off. My fingers found the switch. I flipped it. The light snapped on, flooded the room in a weak yellow glow. And he was gone. No fading, no stepping away, just gone. The space at the foot of the bed was empty. The blankets was rumpled. The wooden footboard was there. The wall was behind it. But there's nothing else. I grabbed my phone, my hand shaking so hard I could barely unlock it. I texted my husband, "Are you home?" The reply came back a minute later. "No, I'm still out. Why?" I stared at the message for a long time. I didn't answer. I left the light on and sat up in bed, listening to every creak and pop of the house until the first gray light came through the curtains. The next morning, I told my friends what happened. I tried to laugh. I tried to make it sound like I had a weird dream. Her mother was nearby making breakfast. She turned around when she heard me, towel in her hand. I finished the story, and there was a long silence. Then very casually, she said, "Oh, so you saw him?" I stared at her. "Saw who?" "The farmer." She went back to the stove as she talked, like she's told this story before. Decades ago, a farmer had died in that house, upstairs, on the second floor, in the room I was sleeping in. People had seen him before, always at night, always standing, always at the foot of the bed, watching. I stayed with a host family while studying abroad. Normal house, quiet neighborhood, nothing about it felt strange. The first week, I was still jet-lagged. I kept waking up too early. One morning, just after sunrise, I got up and went to the kitchen. The house was quiet. I put on a pot of coffee and I leaned on the counter half asleep. And that's when I saw her. The family's young daughter ran past the doorway, bare feet, messy hair, pajamas with some kind of pattern on them. I didn't really pay attention. I was half asleep after all. She ran from her room down the hall toward the bathroom, quick, like she was late for school. I didn't think anything of it, just a kid up early. Later that day, I was in the kitchen with her mom. We were talking about the schedule, classes, just small talk. I said, "Your daughter was up early this morning." She almost scared me running past me like that. Her mom went completely still. She slowly turned to look at me. "When?" was all she asked. "This morning, while the coffee was brewing." She ran right past me towards the bathroom. She ran from her room to the bathroom. Her mom's face changed. A little bit of color drained out of it. "She wasn't here," she said. I laughed because that sounded ridiculous. I told her, "No, I saw her. She was right there. She slept at a friend's house last night. She just got back about an hour ago." I described what I'd seen. Same height, same hair, same pajamas. I've even seen her wear those pajamas before. Same hurried run down the hallway. Her mom pulled out the chair and sat down. Her hands were shaking just a little bit on the table. And then she asked me one last question. Did you see her face? I thought about it. I didn't. She was turned away, I said. She just ran past. I don't think I saw her face at all. Her mom answered, You're not the first person. My sister saw her. My husband, a cousin who stayed here once. She looked down the hall. It's always in the morning, always running from the bedroom to the bathroom. Same size as my daughter, same hair, same pajamas. She paused. We call her the other girl. I didn't say anything. Her mom finally looked back at me. No one ever sees her face. They all say the same thing. They recognize her, but when they try to remember her face, there's nothing there. I grew up near the foothills, open land, thin trees, far enough from town that it got very quiet when the wind died. One afternoon, I was walking down a hill toward a small stand of trees I'd passed 100 times before. It was just routine, same path, same trail, nothing special. Halfway down the hill, I heard it. A man's voice, clear, close, calling for help. Hey, please, help. I stopped walking. The voice sounded like it was maybe 50 yards away, coming from the trees from the bottom of the hill. Not an echo, not muffled, just there. I scanned the tree lines, there was nothing. No movement, no flash of color, no path, no road, no parked car, just grass, rock, and those thin, dried out trees. Help! Over here! Same voice, same distance, same exact tone. I called out, Where are you? Nothing answered, just silence. And a few seconds later, the same voice, the same words, the same distance away. Please, help. It didn't sound closer. It didn't even sound desperate. It sounded like someone playing a recording in the same spot over and over. My whole body went cold. I listened for anything else, branches breaking, footsteps, breathing, anything that would tell me a real person was down there. There was nothing. No wind, no birds, just the voice. Suddenly cut off like somebody had just turned off the radio. I started to shake, and I realized I didn't want to yell back again. I didn't want whatever it was to know exactly where I was. I turned around and I walked up the hill slowly at first, then faster, without looking over my shoulder. Every part of me was waiting to hear that voice call out for me one more time, closer. It never did. I still don't know what or who it was calling out. I just know that every time I walked that trail after, I went the long way around the trees, and I never answer anyone I cannot see. The room was that dim blue-gray, just enough lights to see shapes. I remember staring up at the dresser across the room. My school clothes were folded up on top. There was a little night light plugged into the wall beside it, casting a soft, weak glow. That's when something moved. A shadow slid across the front of the dresser. Nothing fast. It glided, tall, thin, human-shaped. It crossed from one side of the room to the other in one smooth motion, like somebody walking between me and a light that wasn't there. I watched. I didn't blink. I didn't call out for my parents. It reached the corner of my room and disappeared, not into the wall, not into the ceiling. It was just gone. I lay there frozen, staring at the same spot where it vanished until the sun finally came up, and the room looked normal again. Years later, when I was older, I told my family about it, expecting them to laugh it off, telling me that I was weird or crazy. They didn't. My dad went very quiet. My uncle, who was visiting at the time, stopped what he was doing and looked over from the couch. I told him about the shadow crossing the dresser, how tall it was, how it moved. When I finished, there was a long silence, and my dad said, "What time was it when this happened?" "Early," I said, "before sunrise. The nightlight was still on." My uncle and dad looked at each other. It wasn't a casual look. It was recognition. Finally, my uncle said, "You saw it too." I frowned. Too? They told me that when they were kids in the same house, they both had seen the exact same thing. Early in the morning, half light, a tall, thin shadow gliding across the room right in front of the dresser, then disappearing into the same corner. They believed it was a relative who had lived in that house long ago before I was born, someone who died there quietly in one of the bedrooms, someone who never truly left. I don't know if that's true. All I know is that house has been in our family for generations, and that shadow has been seen by all of them. I moved into a cheap duplex at the edge of town, 2 units, 1 thin wall between them, shared porch. It was like the kind of place you rent when you were broke and just needed something with a lock on it. I met my neighbor one time. I was dragging boxes up the steps when the door next to mine opened. Older guy, maybe late 60s, gray hair, flannel shirt, house slippers. He held the door like it was heavy. "You moving in?" he asked. "Yeah," I said out of breath. "Next door." He nodded once, like that explained something to him. Then he said, "You'll get used to the noises," and he went back inside. That was the only time I saw him, but I heard him every night. It started small, soft footsteps on the other side of the wall while I was trying to sleep, the slow dragging of a chair, the clink of dishes in the sink, a low cough that always came in pairs. You can tell a lot about a person by how their life sounds through a thin wall. He never watched TV, never played music, no phone calls, just pacing in the same chair, scraping once, then twice. Like he sat down, stood up, moved the chair, and sat down again. One thing stuck out though. I never heard his door. No latch, no hinge creak, no deadbolt, ever. I'm a light sleeper. My work hours were all over the place. Sometimes I left in the middle of the night, sometimes I came home at 3 a.m. I heard my other neighbors 3 houses down come and go. Cars, doors, laughter, argument. But the man next door was just inside. Always. A few weeks in, I realized I also never heard anyone with him. No extra footsteps, no second voice, no visitors. Just him, pacing. One night around 2 a.m. I woke up to the footsteps that didn't make any sense. Not through the wall, outside my bedroom window. Slow, steady steps on the gravel. Crunch, pause, crunch. Like someone was trying to walk quietly and failing. I froze and checked my phone. It was 2:13 a.m. The steps stopped directly under my window. The glass rattled slightly, like someone had put their hand against it. I waited for a knock, a voice, anything. Nothing. After a full minute of silence, the footsteps started again, moving along the side of the house. I tracked them in my head, past the bathroom, past the kitchen, around the back. They faded out behind the neighbor's unit. The next morning, I caught my landlord when she came out to check the gutters. "Hey, do you know if the guy next door is okay?" I asked. "I only saw him once." She frowned. "What guy?" "The older guy, gray hair, flannel, lives in the other unit." Her face changed in the way I didn't like, half confused, half something else. "Can you show me which door you mean?" she asked. I walked up to the porch and I pointed at the side. She stared at that door just a second too long. "That place is empty," she said. "It has been empty since sometime last winter." I laughed because what else was I supposed to do? "No, he's there. I hear him every night." She shook her head slowly. "Previous tenant fits that description, yeah. Died in his sleep. They found him when the smell got bad. No family, no one ever came to visit. I was the one who let the coroner in." I waited for her to say she was joking. She didn't. "Nobody's rented that place since. I'm still repainting and fixing some wiring. The power's off." "The power's off?" "So who's been walking around?" I asked. She opened her mouth and closed it again. When she spoke, her voice was lower. "You're not the first tenant to ask that. Most people don't stay long enough to make it a problem." I moved out a week later. I told myself it was because of the commute, or the thin walls, or the fact that the porch light on the side never turned off with no power. I never said the real reason out loud. My last night there, I couldn't sleep. I laid in bed, staring at the ceiling, counting the seconds. At 12:11 a.m., I heard the footsteps start. Same space, same pace, same weight, but this time they didn't go straight to my window. They did a full loop around the duplex first. I could hear them outside the kitchen, then the front door, then the far corner by the water heater. Finally, they came to my bedroom wall and stopped, not at the window, the wall. On the other side, in the exact spot where his living room would be, I heard the slow drag of the chair once, twice, then a long pause. The wall behind my head creaked like someone had leaned their full weight against it. Then so close it might have been inside my room, I heard that same double cough from that old man. I didn't stay for sunrise. I grabbed what I could fit in my car, left the rest, and drove to a friend's place across town. I sleep in a different apartment now, different neighborhood, different walls, and I still hear that sound of a chair scraping once, then twice, somewhere on the other side of the drywall. And I find myself holding my breath, listening, waiting to see if this will be the night I finally hear a door open